to order. Because the meetings are being held remotely, we're asking for comments to be emailed to publiccomments@shra.org, and they will be read into the recording during the meeting. Comments may also be made by phone by dialing 888-970-1444 to comment during the citizens' comments agenda item. Call after roll call has ended, and to comment on a specific item, please call at the beginning of that agenda item. As we're doing Zoom, I'll ask for comments from each of you and look for a wave or a hand after the staff presentations. With that, roll call, Lara. You're muted.
Commissioner Boyd. Commissioner Morgan.
Aye, here.
Commissioner Nunley.
Here.
Commissioner Osmani.
Here.
Commissioner Stajabu.
Here.
Commissioner Starks. Commissioner Wu.
Here.
You have a quorum.
All right, thank you. So we're going to continue item number 2 to March 3rd. Any other changes to the agenda? Seeing nobody jumping up and down and waving, the agenda is set as printed. Anyone interested for citizens' comments? Please submit your comments to publiccomments@shra.org or call 888-970-1444, or if you're on the screen, raise your hand. Claire, could you read the public comments section?
Certainly. While the commission welcomes and encourages participation in commission meetings, please limit your comments to 3 minutes so that everyone may be heard. If you wish to speak under citizens' comments or on a posted agenda item, please fill out a speaker card and present it to the agency clerk. SHRA provides opportunities for the public to address the commission at this time in order to listen to opinions regarding non-agendized matters within the subject matter jurisdiction of SHRA. Consistent with the Brown Act, the public comment periods on the agenda are not intended to be question and answer periods or conversations with commission members. Members of the public with questions are encouraged to contact staff before or after the meeting. Commission attendees are requested to silence any electronic devices that they have in their possession during the meeting.
All right, thank you. Do you have any public comments submitted there?
I do. I'll be reading one.
Okay, cool.
Should I say who it's from?
If she says it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So this is a public comment sent in by Emily Sanders, and she'd like me to read it. I would like this to be recorded, read, and addressed in this meeting. Thank you in advance, everyone, for your time and consideration on the matter. I currently reside in a 1-bedroom apartment at Saybrook Apartments with my precious 2-year-old son. I am also a participant in the SHRA program. It took me over a year to finally get in. My mother and 2 adult daughters are facing homelessness now after we all suffered a great loss in my family. My grandmother passed away 1/6/21. According to Lutheran Social Services, there have been many cases before of additions being made to family composition, resulting in it looks like 7 in a 1-bedroom unit. Of course, with such an increase, we would be placed on a 3-bedroom transfer list. Within days of her passing, I submitted all the required documentation to add them to my case. Due to her credit, my mother was able to stay an additional month. My 2 daughters do not have a source of income currently, and my mother only receives $819 income current SSA benefits per month. They are my beloved immediate family, and none of them have criminal records. Today by mail, I received a letter stating that they are all denied based on the following. The individuals named above are not considered approvable add-ons. Per our administrative plan, approvable additions may include a spouse/partner with his and her minor children, a minor who has been part of the assisted household who moved out and is returning to the household and is still a minor, adult children under 24 years of age who left to attend school, a parent or a grandparent of the head, spouse, or co-head who is elderly or disabled. My option as stated in the letter is to write a letter to appeal it within 10 days and then wait for the delivery of a letter from them. No contact. In the meantime, I am to do what? Find the best shelter for my 20 and 21-year-old daughters and my 65-year-old mother, or risk being evicted? This is insane. In a statement, Mayor Steinberg said he had done more than any public official in Sacramento history to address homelessness and vowed to continue that effort. During his campaign, Governor Newsom promised that his administration would tackle California's homelessness crisis head on, making it a top priority after past governors had largely left the problem to local governments to solve. SHRA states its stance on homelessness is that they are dedicated to changing lives. Well, then I cry out in desperation before another family, my family, is made homeless during a pandemic when something could be done to keep a family together and off the streets. Help me, please. Emily Sanders, and then she leaves contact information.
Okay, thank you. I'm sure that staff will reply to them. Okay. good.
Yes, Chair Morgan, we will reach out to Ms. Sanders and review her case per the information that she has provided.
Excellent. Okay, any other public comment?
No other public comment.
See no raised hands, see nobody waving. So with that, we will move on to approval of the minutes. Any corrections to the minutes as they were submitted?
So moved.
Well, if there's no objection, we'll just approve the minutes as they were printed. Seeing no objection, the minutes are approved. That takes us to the presentation of the promise zone.
Could I just confirm, we're skipping both of the business items, Gail?
There's one business item which was continued to next week,
No.
to March 3rd. Did I miss something?
I thought we have two business items.
Commissioner Morgan, the SAGE at Folsom was continued, but the implementation of the Sacramento Emergency Rental Assistance Program remains.
Okay, so I've got my notes messed up here. I apologize. So the SERA program, and that's business? Okay.
Correct.
Go ahead and read the title on that because I don't have it.
Implementation of the Sacramento Emergency Rental Assistance Program, Phase 2.
So Chair Morgan, we have Mary Liz Paulson who is going to be doing the presentation. So I'll go ahead and share.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Mary Liz Paulson. I'm one of the Assistant Directors here at SHRA. And tonight I'm going to give you information about the Sacramento Emergency Rental Assistance Program. At our last meeting, I gave you information about the SERA program, Phase 1. We opened the application period for 3 weeks in October and received over 4,400 applications. As you remember, we assisted 300 families in the county and 930 families in the city. I showed you demographic information about the households that were served and gave you some more information about the families that were in need and received the assistance. Remember that information can still be found on our website, which is shra.org/SERA, SERA. Today, I'm going to introduce SERA Phase 2. President Trump signed the $900 billion stimulus bill on December 27th, making this law. Based on the federal dollars that were committed, much of $30 million, about $31 million came to the county and $15 million is coming to the city to provide the rental assistance program as funded by the federal law. Also, very soon after that, Governor Newsom signed SB 91, making that law on January 29th. Again, the grantees were the city and the counties throughout the state. The state added a layer of rules to the federal program, It was not developed to be an additional program, but the funds and the rules from the state were layered on top of the federal funds. The state gave jurisdictions 3 options to implement the program. The first option that jurisdictions could choose is to step back and let the state administer the program. So that would be both the federal and the state program. Remember, this is a layering, so they're not 2 separate programs, but the state layering rules and funding on top of the federal program. Option 2 is the jurisdiction could choose to administer the state program and the federal program as long as they agreed to administer them so that the state program was consistent with federal program requirements. And the third option, the local jurisdiction could choose to administer their federal program and not choose to participate in the state program, in which case the state would come in and they would manage the state program in that jurisdiction. So there were 3 options. And in Sacramento, option 2 was chosen. So both the city of Sacramento and the county of Sacramento chose to self-administer the program. So that means that the county is receiving $33.2 million and the city $16.4 million. And they are agreeing to administer the state program consistent with the federal regulations. And both programs have 1 set of rules. So here you can see the amount of funds that are coming into both the city and the county for both the federal and the state program. Both the city and the county have asked SHRA to administer this program based on the success of the SERA 1 program. So let's start looking at the federal rules and what that means. To be eligible for the federal rental assistance, the household must meet 3 criteria. 1, they have to have an annual gross income adjusted for family size that is low income, or 80% of the AMI, area median income, as shown in this chart. The second requirement is that they must be a renter household where at least 1 member in the household is unemployed or has experienced a reduction in the household income or incurred significant cost or experienced a financial hardship due to COVID-19. And the third requirement is the families must demonstrate that they are at risk of being unhoused or have housing instability. Priority is given to families at 50% of AMI, area median income, or less. Based on federal statute, the assistance can be used to pay for several things, including rent arrears. Rent arrears have to be the priority. But in addition to paying rent arrears, the federal dollars can be used to pay for rent or utility payments. The landlords can apply on behalf of their tenants, or tenants can apply for themselves. So this is something that was different from what you heard about SERA 1. Based on the federal rules, 65% of the federal funds have to be spent by September 30th. This is about $10 million. 100% of the funds have to be expended by the end of the year. And subsidized households, which are public housing or HCV families, can be assisted as long as there's no duplication of assistance. Remember, I said that the state funds were meant to be layered on top of the federal funds. Here in Sacramento, we will manage the program as 1 program for the city and the county using both federal and state funds. All the federal rules applies. Now the state then added some additional rules. AB 3088 passed in the summer. That was a California state law. And renters were protected from eviction due to lack of payment if they paid at least 25% of their rent each month. This renter's protection or eviction moratorium was scheduled to end on 1/31, January 31st of this year. SB 91 extended the renter protections from January 31st to June 30th. Now the state law allows us to pay the landlord up to 80% of the tenant's rent that's owed in arrear for the period April 1st to March 31st. So this is intended to help families get through that June 30th time period, June 30th of 2021. So we can pay rent owed in arrears from the beginning of the pandemic, April 1st of 2020 through March 31st. The landlord can accept this payment as payment in full of any unpaid rent for that period. So by accepting the 80% of the tenant's arrears, the landlord is agreeing to forever waive or forgive that remaining 20%. If the landlord does not participate or chooses not to participate in the program, the tenant can apply and receive 25% of their rental arrears. That would cause the tenant protections to come into play so that, again, they are not at risk of being evicted due to lack of payment of rent due to COVID. The law also allows prospective rents of 25% of the monthly rent for the months of April, May, and June of 2021. So we can pay arrears from April 1st to March 31st and then pay prospective rents for the next 3 months. There's no cap, there's no dollar cap on the arrear payments, just the limit of 80% of whatever that amount is. The rental arrears must be paid first, and the laws do not speak at all about immigration. So there is no citizen or immigration consideration in play at all. Together, this assistance will keep families housed through June 30th. This is not a homeless program, but a program established to keep renters in their homes. It's preventing homelessness. Additionally, state law establishes various priorities in providing the assistance. First, to families below 50% area median income or unemployed for 90 days. The second round or second tier are those households below 80% of area median income and in a community disproportionately impacted by COVID-19. And then round 3 are households below 80% area median income and not addressed in rounds 1 or 2. And again, this is directly state law. As we work to implement SERA Phase 2, we are actively engaging with the community to hear their feedback and to partner with them to outreach to the communities in need of assistance. We're looking to them to do outreach as well as to assist families in applying and uploading documentation and helping us work with families as additional information may be needed to complete their application. We continue to have ongoing engagement with community partners throughout this process. And we are continuing to work with our community partners to do outreach to the non-English speaking community. The next steps in this process are we're going before City Council for approval of the authorization to administer this program. And we actually did that last night. We are also then going to the Board of Supervisors, which is scheduled for next week, so that we will again seek authorization for implementing this program in this jurisdiction. We'll continue to have community meetings, and the application period for receiving applications for the program will open on February 25th. It's a week from tomorrow, and will close 3 weeks later on March 19th. All state funds have to be expended by August 1st, and 65% of the federal funds to be expended by September 30th, and all of the funds by the end of this year. So here's information about the opening and closing of the application period. There will be more than one opening. This is the first one. Keep checking information on our website shown here at shra.org/SERA. We are updating information on the website all the time. There is a flyer here at our website that can be printed and circulated or emailed out. We are working on getting the translations done, and the translations will be appearing on our website very soon. This completes my presentation, and I'm available to answer any questions.
All right, thank you very much. And sorry about my confusion on that. I had marked a different program and actually marked this one instead. Questions of commissioners? Barry, go ahead. And then Daryl.
Thank you, Chair. Still trying to find that dang hands up icon, but anyway. A quick question. You stated it, but I may have missed it. If a renter wants to apply for the 25% of their monthly, that they're in the arrears monthly, they can do that if they so chose to go for 25%. Now, does that waive any other amounts? The other 75% still owed, or is the 25% a, here landlord, I'm trying, and then I'll get you the 75% when I get you the 75%?
So no, the way that I would expect everybody would be looking to get all of the arrears that they owe paid. So I don't think anybody would ask for a lesser amount. So they would be asking for the arrears that they owe to be paid. And if the landlord agrees to accepting only the 80%, then we would be paying 80%. We would be paying that forward. So for example, just in round numbers, if $1,000 is owed, the landlord has to agree to take $800. But when he agrees to take the $800, he's agreeing to forgive or to waive that remaining $200. So if the landlord says no, that they don't want to receive the 80%, then the option is that we will pay the tenant, the tenant's portion, that 25%. So the tenant still gets something, and that 25% is the amount the tenant needs to protect them from eviction. So it's not necessarily the tenant's choice. It'll be based on the landlord's reaction to waiving that 20%. So the landlord gets either 80%, or if they choose not to participate, they can still receive the 25%.
Mary Liz, the question, if I can just jump in, is the question, can someone just make the application for the 25% if their landlord does not want to participate? Because they get paid directly. We would pay the renter the 25% directly, which they in turn would then satisfy their requirement to avoid eviction to the landlord. That's what the law states, is if they pay 25%, then they cannot face eviction. But that means that the 75% is still owed.
Thank you. Thank you for the clarity on that. That's why it's just wasn't ringing clear. I'm like, well, wait a minute. But with that said, is there any language that protects the SHRA, the city and the county and the state in regards to giving that, let's say it comes to giving the tenant the 25% that is supposed to pay the landlord, to make sure that 25% is pushed to the landlord? Are there any protections in place to make sure that happens? Or is it once the 25% is given to the renter, then it's out of the hands of the officials and it's now in the hands of the tenant?
Yeah, so when we issue the payment to the tenant, we have no authority beyond that. So we will look for a commitment from the tenant, but ultimately, yes, we have no authority beyond giving the 25% to the tenant.
But the tenant is saying that is what its intent and what it's to be used for.
Quick, sorry, just one follow up on that. Let's say if that doesn't happen, is there any recourse for SHRA or the city, state, county to recoup that money, other than just going after the renter? I don't say tenant, but the renter in small claims court? I'm just I'm just throwing it out there, just asking in case there's a lot
No,
of folks that say, hey,
it's a good question. I think those are some of the details that the state is still working through as we speak, because there's a lot of still, devils in the details. So there's a lot of that still to be worked out. But really, I would expect that we would have them signing their affidavit that is what they're using the money for. And it really is to protect them. So not paying the 25% puts them in jeopardy of being evicted. And they can't step in later and say, well, I shouldn't have been evicted, because they were actually given the resources to avoid eviction.
One other comment too, remember the families that are applying, the majority of them most likely are not public housing residents or housing choice voucher participants. So we have no ongoing relationship with them. So with that, once we issue the payment, we don't have an ongoing commitment to either the tenant or the landlord. So we likely would not necessarily know what happens in the next step.
thank you.
Right, Carol.
So I was wondering again, as I did last time, what languages you will be translating this into.
So actually, a few things. One, the flyer that we put on our website, that will be translated into Spanish, Vietnamese, Russian, Chinese, and Hmong. We are working with our software provider, and we're hoping that the application will be available online in other languages. So we're working to make that happen. At the minimum, it will be in those 5 languages.
Thank you.
Sure.
Cecile.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I just had a couple of questions. One, when I looked at the materials for this item, it appears that it's city. However, when you were doing your presentation, you were also talking about county. So we're approving tonight the city portion, and obviously it went to the city, as you said, last night.
Right. Right.
So we don't have to approve the county portion at all. We're just only focused on the city portion, because the materials only.
You're breaking up, but no, it's for the city and the county. So it's one program. So we would be implementing for both the city and the county using both state and federal dollars.
Okay.
The reason that you didn't receive the county materials is because the county materials are not final at this time.
All right. Thank you for clearing that up. And then I noticed that in the details you're talking about, just community-based organizations, right? Have you identified those organizations yet, or you're still working on those?
Our procurement department is working on that as we speak. So they will be interviewing and working with a list of community-based organizations to identify those that we will be working with. So we're looking to have a mix of organizations that serve those underserved communities, including the non-English speaking communities, and that are balanced between the city and the county.
I had under the rationale for recommendation, it talks about the California legislative and Californians are out of work and how much they owe. I'm wondering, and this isn't, I can understand it, county and those numbers and just what it is, or was it just something that was only at the LAO level?
You kind of broke up a little bit, Cecile.
Okay, I'm not sure if it's my connection, but I was.
You're freezing.
Maybe you can put the question in chat. I wonder if that would help.
Right.
Can you put it in the chat?
I'm gonna do that.
Okay, then we can read it out. Go from there.
You're next, Sam.
You're on mute.
All right, I'm sorry, Cecile. I'm busting up on. Yeah. Uh, so Daryl, stop. I think that we could.
Let's wait till we read Cecile's question and then we'll go with you. Sam.
Oh, okay. All right. Go ahead.
You're just next after her.
I'm just next after her. Okay.
I thought that's what that was.
I thought at her expense, you know.
Yeah. I haven't received it in the chat yet.
It looks like she's frozen again. There she is.
Okay. So
Would you like me to read it?
Oh, go ahead, Lyra.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. LAO report has 1.4 million Californians. Is there a report that is for Sacramento only? That for out of work?
I don't know that number.
Not at this time. We don't have that information.
Yeah.
That's a good question, though.
All right. We'll move on to Sam.
So I think this is an opportunity that this is the second time Commissioner Wu mentioned language. And I think what we should do is that should be at least a part of the concern or in the RFP when we're looking at organizations to partner with. Do they have the ability to translate? And what languages do they have the ability to translate in? And certainly, I think that that should be a consideration for us when we select the groups to distribute the money. You know, whether they have that diversity. Herein is me kind of talking, us, I think collectively, corporately, are talking about equity as we're doing the work. This is where equity means something. It doesn't mean something when we're talking about equality. It means something when it hits the, you know, can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm unable to lower hands. Oh, okay. So I think that these are the times that we really consider the issues of equity. These are the times that we consider issues of that RFP. I can't tell you how many times in the nonprofit space, some of the biggest offenders of equitable practices are people who are serving low income and people of color. And this might be an opportunity for us to add that language into the RFP. And I'm sure you guys just do it as a general practice, but I think to Commissioner Wu's point, I think we can assure him that in the RFP, in the distribution, this is a non-starter. And Daryl, if you want to add anything to it, I'm fine with that.
Thank you, Sam. I just want to everyone to be aware that I'm watching and I'm concerned. So as we establish a practice, that will be the course moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Good.
All right.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
Commissioner Starks and Commissioner Wu, I think you raised a very excellent point that is of huge concern for us. And in fact, that is why we are really working with community-based organizations so that we can have partners that will help us get the word out in those underserved communities that do not speak English. There's lessons learned from our first go around, and we realized that we really need to have much more outreach into those communities. And this time we have more time. Last time we were under that crunch to get all those dollars spent very, very quickly. Now we have more time, and we really are going to be aggressive in our marketing and outreach, and really also would hope that you as commissioners in your roles and other boards, commissions, or even in the community are helping to get the word out.
All right. So any other questions? I don't see any hands up. I think we've kind of figured out how to get our own hands back down now. So
I think Lyra did it for me. Didn't you, Lyra? Somebody moved it down. I don't know how to bring it back down, Gail. Is there a quick, somebody?
Hit it again. Hit
In the
it
past-
again and it'll bring it down.
Okay, all right.
In the past, I've been the co-host. I'm able to put the hands down when I acknowledge somebody, but I didn't do that this time. And I sent a message to IT and nothing happened. So with that, if there's no more questions, I'll take a motion.
So moved. Second.
All right, so we have a motion from Commissioner Wu and a second from, I believe that was Cecile.
Yes.
So, Lara, roll call, please.
Boyd,
Aye.
Morgan,
Aye.
Osmany,
Aye.
Nunley,
Aye.
Stajabu,
Aye.
Starks,
Yes.
Wu.
Aye.
The motion carries.
All right, thank you very much. And now we'll go on to the Promise Zone presentation.
We have Tyrone Roderick Williams is going to give our update on the Promise Zone.
Well, good evening, Chairman Morgan and Commissioners. I'm Tyrone Roderick Williams, Deputy Executive Director here at SHRA, and I'll be giving you a snapshot of some activities that we've engaged in the Promise Zone just over the last 60 days. On an annual basis, we come before you to give you a complete kind of year in review, and we will be doing that, but we've got some very special programs that we thought it would be important to bring before you tonight. Julius Austin has joined us as well. Julius is the Promise Zone coordinator, and I have to say he's done a phenomenal job of helping to build collaborations and helping us move these things forward. So I know that we've got some new commissioners, and so I'd just like to lay the groundwork for what the Promise Zone actually is. The Sacramento Promise Zone is a federal designation that we received back in April of 2015. It's a federal designation from HUD. The whole purpose for the Promise Zone was to look at how to increase collaborations and make an impact in issues that are facing communities. We are one of 16 urban Promise Zones, but at the time that we applied for the application, the Promise Zone had approximately 127,000 residents, had a poverty rate of about 34%, third grade reading level at 37%, and a life expectancy for residents in the Promise Zone being 72 years versus 79 outside. So it's clear that we've got some significant challenges in our community, but we've made some significant progress in building collaborations that actually provide some relief and help move residents forward. Currently, we have about 150 partners. Those partners are engaged in numerous activities. And since April of 2015, we've been able to attract or leverage over $175 million into the Promise Zone through federal, state, and government investments. And so our goal is really to be able to do 5 things. One is to improve health and wellness by promoting healthy behaviors, improve educational opportunities from cradle to career, create jobs that accelerate job training and placement, increase economic activity within the downtown and neighborhood business districts, and facilitate sustainable neighborhood revitalization activities. The 3 items that I'm going to just give a brief update on really do go back to achieving those goals that I've just shared. The first is the Energy Baron Program. The Sacramento Promise Zone Sustainable Communities Collaborative is a collaboration between the Sacramento Black Chamber of Commerce, SMUD, Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Agency, the Sacramento Kings, UC Davis, and the City of Sacramento. The partnership was created to bring environmental equity and economic vitality to communities within the zone. The latest program emerging from this collaborative partnership is the Energy Baron Program. An Energy Baron is a facilities professional whose primary function is to help lower the energy usage and utility costs for buildings by implementing energy efficient best practices. The program was created and administered by EcoAlpha. EcoAlpha is a local Sacramento business, and it was started by Melanie and Uzoma Okoro. It's dedicated to empowering communities by helping equitable access to workforce development opportunities in the area of energy while emphasizing collaborative learning, innovation, leadership, and technology. So this program is being launched this month. The goal of the program is to provide an opportunity to gain real work experience and new skills in the energy sectors. The Energy Barons will complete the Energy Baron pre and post assessment, and the program participants will learn how to analyze energy data, develop alternative courses of action to reduce energy usage, and have programs that support energy expeditions and strategies for enhancing high-performance building systems. In essence, these are individuals who are going to be trained on how to help buildings or building engineers or companies reduce their energy load and thereby saving money. That's the whole purpose for an Energy Baron, is to show practical ways in which buildings can be operated to save money. Sometimes that includes the behavior of the employees within the building. Sometimes that also includes just how the mechanical systems are operated. The qualifications are you must be 18 years or older, have a GED, a high school diploma, provide your own transportation, attend the program orientation, and be able to participate in up to 32 hours a month. Upon successful completion of the 8 weeks course, each participant will receive an Energy Baron certification, and each participant will also receive mentorship and assistance with planning, coordination of job shadowing, and placement opportunities. And so this is the second program from our partnership. We've just completed a program where we actually built these large electrical charging stations for phones that have been built and installed throughout the Promise Zone. So this is our second activity. I have to say that we are currently committed to ensuring that each one of these programs results in the participants not only getting the training, but getting the jobs. That is key. And from our previous program, right now, we have individuals who completed the program where they built and installed these solar charging stations working throughout Sacramento, and even 2 of them have gotten hired and are currently working in Hawaii. So we are committed to jobs. The second program I'd like to talk about, and Julius has led the charge on so many programs, but this one is another way that we're impacting our youth in the Promise Zone. We're all aware that COVID-19 has really set back the learning opportunities for many of our youth, particularly those in underserved communities. And so the Sacramento Literacy Foundation provided funds and partnered with the Sacramento Promise Zone to purchase and give away 30,000 books to students from kindergarten to the 12th grade in the public school, both Sac City Unified School District and Twin Rivers. And so those books are being packaged up and bagged up. Each student will receive between 5 and 8 books. There's a partnership with each of the principals of those schools who will be responsible for receiving the books and distributing them. And our goal is really to have the majority of the books distributed in the month of March during the National Reading Month. And so this is another example of practical ways in which the partnership with the Promise Zone has led to the ability to support educational advancement, or at least not allowing for there to be a disruption in the kids' ability to get to the library or get to books that they will enjoy. The third activity is I'd like to share has something to do with home ownership. One of the goals for the Sacramento Promise Zone is looking at increasing home ownership opportunities within the zone. And to that degree, we'd like to announce that SHRA is participating in and launching the Community Home Ownership Initiative. This comprehensive program is designed to raise awareness and dispel the myths of purchasing a home in the greater Sacramento region. The Community Home Ownership Initiative program is a partnership effort consisting of the Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Agency, the Federal Home Loan Bank of San Francisco, the Sacramento Realtors Association, and Union Bank. It seeks to increase the home ownership rates in greater Sacramento region for African American prospective buyers. According to the Urban Institute, since 2001, Black ownership rates have seen a dramatic drop, and the most dramatic drop of any racial or ethnic group. And this particular outreach is designed not exclusively for African Americans, but it includes a real outreach to be able to help them be able to access up to $28,000 in down payment and closing cost assistance and grants through the Federal Home Loan Bank and through Union Bank. The Sacramento Realtors will be providing virtual information sessions and workshops starting on March the 3rd. Our goal is to get the word out that while we are still undergoing economic challenges, people are still buying homes. And we want to be able to provide the practical information that they will need to make informed decisions about how to move forward with home ownership. That concludes the information that I have tonight. We are available for any questions that you may have.
Tyrone, I was hoping that maybe you could say what the informational workshops, just the coloring on the flyer here. I'm not sure if people can read those 4 dates for workshops.
The informational workshops start on March 3rd, then go to Saturday, March 17th, then Wednesday, March 7th. You really tested my laser surgery here. March 17th, and then 27th.
Okay.
So there's one during the week and one on a Saturday.
And we'll work on the flyer with the shading on it. I think the green, it's a little bit hard to see.
Maybe you could email that to all of us.
Okay.
Then we can see it. All right. Any questions? I see Barry has his hand up.
Found the button. And my question is, how you doing, Tyrone? Fantastic presentation.
Thank you.
And just one question. As you stated, the kids have to get to the program on their own, but is there any opportunity that we can come up with to grant these kids a transportation stipend to assist them in getting to the program, whether it's if it's once a week bus pass, so forth, so on. Most of the kids, unless it's changed, they are still getting the through SACRT, the free bus pass. I believe that's still in effect. But if there are any kids that may not have that bus pass, is there an opportunity to get a stipend for those youngsters in your program?
We can explore that. Currently, that is not an element of the program for this program, but that is something that we can explore to see, first of all, how many of the participants have transportation challenges that would preclude them, and then we can look at how we could support that.
Thank you.
Okay. Any others?
Yes.
Sajabu.
Yeah, will all of this be on your Facebook page?
Yes.
Thank
Our
you.
website, the Sacramento Promise Zone website, and that's connected to our Facebook page.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you.
Tyrone, I recognized the voice,
Yeah, I was going to say something, but go ahead.
but I had to look twice.
No, you know he's going to get clowned, so stay there and get ready to get clowned. Go ahead.
Look, I just like to say, remember, this is a public meeting. Okay, I'm ready to respond to any comments that are worthy of a response.
The limiting factors there, huh?
No, it's all good.
Now, I have to say, Chairman Gale, you and Commissioner Boyd are an inspiration to us. That's all I'm going to say.
Chairman Morgan, yes, me, you might want to take a closer look at this beard, bro.
All right. Well, any questions on the Promise Zone? Julius was here tonight. He didn't say anything. Did you want to say something, Julius?
No, I was just here for support to answer any questions. I did want to. I posted a comment in the chat box to clarify that the participants of the Energy Bearing program, they will be adults who are 18 and over. So just wanted to clarify that in case Commissioner Boyd thought that there might be younger individuals who were going to participate.
Cool. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Julius. Yeah, I did miss that part of the 18 and older.
All right. Well, then we will move on to the executive director's report.
All right. All right, thank you, Tyrone. I'm really excited about the home ownership program and the opportunity for us to provide a substantial amount of dollars to help people within the Promise Zone find housing. So I'm just thrilled at the work that both Julius and Tyrone have done to pull together fantastic programs, but specifically this one to really help those disadvantaged neighborhoods and individuals who are still out there really trying to purchase homes. I just am thrilled that we're able to provide that level of assistance, which is significant. And then just moving on to the executive director's report, I just wanted to say that our next meeting for the commission is scheduled for March 3rd, 2021. So please make sure that that is on your calendars. March 3rd, we will be having our next commission meeting. And really, that's it. We just had a lot of great news tonight. I'm so glad that we're able to share what's going on with the rental assistance program. And again, I encourage anyone out there who's listening to really take advantage of this program. There's a significant amount of money that we will be getting out to individuals who are in need. We've heard that over and over again. And we are also, looking to see how we can expend these funds. And if we can get them expended quickly, then we position ourselves really to receive more dollars from either the state or the federal government to help the residents within the city and county of Sacramento. So again, please make sure you talk to anyone and everyone you know who might be impacted by COVID and having or struggling to pay rent so that they can apply. So those are the things that I just want to make sure gets out there. Thank you.
Thank you. And there's no commission chair report this time. So items and questions of commission members.
I think it's, Mr. Chair, obviously, I think Michael Alcalay has finished his term Is that true?
Lyra probably could answer that better than I can. Usually people stay on until they're replaced.
Yes, he's completed his term on the commission.
Okay.
Well, in light of that, I'm going to channel my inner Michael and certainly encourage staff to take advantage, try to figure out how we could take advantage of this in terms of our own, how do we shine up our own story? How do we take advantage? I know it's self-serving, but it's just between us girls here. Let's figure out how.
Did you say that out loud?
let's see if there's a way that we could. I mean, this is big work. This is a lot of big work, and it's oftentimes, in addition to the money giveaway, but the other stuff that you guys that we're doing, Tyrone and all that other stuff. I mean, we have to sell what we're doing, how we're doing it, and telling our story. And maybe this is a good time for us to try to figure out how to do it in a way that, I know you don't want to do it in times like these, but I think we really have to be able to say, because we're not always going to be in COVID time. And, there's always going to be critics. Someone's going to come along and say something. And I like to be ready to say, this is what we've did. This is what we've done. And during COVID, we did A, B, C, and D. And so just so that, for the record, right? Just for the record. That's all. That's my 2 cents.
All right. So I see you have your hand up.
I forgot to unmute. So hopefully everyone can hear me and I don't freeze. So much. However, I did have one quick question.
And you're frozen.
Ah, sheesh.
There you go. Try this real quick, Cecile. Kill your video for a second and say what you want to say, and then bring your video back.
Ah, okay. All right. Does this help or does this work?
It seems to be working.
What I was going to say is I didn't receive the handouts. I know, Leary, you have received the you emailed them to us last time. Can she hear me or?
Yes, I can hear you. So you're saying you haven't received the presentations. We received the presentations later than normal this time, but I can send those to you now.
Oh, okay. That would be perfect. That was my only comment. I really do appreciate everything that the staff is putting together. And I know it gets a little hectic, so I understand, but I did, I had to go back and check and say, maybe she sent them and I just didn't get them. And it was like, nope, didn't see them. So I just wanted to ask about that. And I don't think there is anything else. Just thank you everyone for such hard work.
Thank you.
Or maybe in the future, when we get presentations late, you could add them to the packet on the website, and we could go back and check like on Monday or Tuesday to see if they're there.
I always add them the day after the meeting to the website anyway, but I'll be happy to email them to you as well.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, comments?
Is there a function, Gail, to stick anything into the chat? Is there a function that allows Lyra, to stick something as a link in the chat, when we start a meeting? Do you know what I'm saying?
There is.
Oh.
Just like a link, and what we were talking about, just putting it in the chat. So whatever the document.
Are you referring to the PowerPoint?
Yeah, anything.
Oh, okay.
Just so that it's there, each of us can click it. at will.
You could ask IT for sure.
Yeah, and that would probably, because some of us are going to forget, some of us don't have it, but it'll be here in the chat. We can click it and then, you know.
That's a good idea. IT is saying it is doable.
Is it doable? Good.
Yes.
Good.
And we will be the only ones that are able to see the chat, correct?
Only
It's
people are
public
logged in.
anyway. Everything we do is public.
There's a file thing where you can click on that and add a file. And you can, I've never done it, but it's there. And
I guess Michelle said it was doable, so that's good for me.
All right. It is 7:01.
Peace.
Everybody's done? Okay. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
That is tomorrow.